With an uncensored mouth, Pitbull Cruz made Gervonta Davis doubt his capability as a fighter. Cruz stated that Davis is now easier to hit and that his moves have become so predictable that even a beginner fighter would stand a chance against him. What's worse is that Pitbull made these comments on live television, prompting his promoter to drop his signed contract and decide not to renew it ever again. That must have been a significant blow for Davis and his team. It's hard to imagine anyone saying such harsh things without some basis, especially when speaking to a wide audience on live television. Cruz's words were direct and cutting, suggesting that Davis's skills have deteriorated to the point where even a novice fighter could pose a threat. Given the public nature of these remarks, it's reasonable to consider them as serious critiques rather than mere trash talk. This public criticism likely stings deeply. Knowing his competitive nature and pride in his abilities, it's almost certain that he's feeling both furious and motivated to respond. Davis is not one to take such comments lightly, and he will probably have a strong rebuttal or counteraction plan for Cruz.
Dependiendo qué plan de trabajo lleve, qué plan de pelea nos presente, nosotros llevamos cualquier tipo de trabajo para aquella noche.
I know. Those comments were made in Spanish, but you and I can easily understand what Cruz meant. He effectively dismantled Davis's reputation in a language that the undisputed champion doesn't even understand. That's an absolute nightmare for Davis. But hey, where does Cruz get this confidence? As I've said, Tank Davis is getting hit more often than he used to, indicating a decline in his defensive ability. Cruz feels that fighters have started to figure out Davis's fighting style, making it easier for them to land more shots. He notes that these opponents are not only hitting Davis more frequently, but are also managing to extend the fights, taking him into deeper rounds. Cruz believes that this increased vulnerability, with Davis's face reddening from the impact of numerous punches, is evidence that Davis is not as formidable as he once was. This perceived decline in Davis's performance has given Cruz the boldness to speak out and challenge Davis's reputation as a top fighter. To be fair, Davis's fight with Martin was filled with disappointment from the fans. Many felt that his performance was not as impressive as it used to be. Although Davis managed to defeat Martin with a knockout in the 8th round, his struggle was evident. He was visibly catching his breath, and it seemed that his once formidable defense was no longer as effective.
I know this sounds like a cliche question.
Fans and critics alike observed that Davis's performance lacked the sharpness and dominance they had come to expect from him. This bout left many questioning whether Davis's best days were behind him, and if he could maintain his status as a top fighter in the face of growing competition. And you can bet that this is true. Even when Davis was younger, he was getting hit frequently and not always looking great in the ring. For instance, during his fight against Mario Barrios in 2021, his promoter, Floyd Mayweather Jr., had to step in and give him a motivational speech in the later rounds when things were looking desperate. And you know what happened after that? Mayweather climbed onto the ring apron and delivered a classic motivational speech to Tank. Inspired by Floyd's words, Davis rallied and managed to secure the win. However, without Floyd's timely intervention and encouragement, he might have lost that fight. So yeah, no one would expect someone as strong as Davis to find himself in a desperate situation. But let's reconsider our perception of him and take a moment to reflect on what Cruz has said. Cruz's observations are spot on. He pointed out that Davis's defense has weakened, making him more susceptible to getting hit. This decline was evident in his recent fights, where he struggled more than usual and had to rely on motivational boosts from others to secure his victories. Given the recent remarks about Gervonta Davis being hit more frequently, experts have varied opinions on the matter. Some believe that Davis's defensive strategy might be contributing to the issue. They argue that Davis tends to hang back, waiting for the ideal moment to land one of his powerful counter shots. This approach means that he often endures several punches before successfully delivering a decisive, fight-ending blow. Experts point out that while this strategy can be effective in securing dramatic victories, it also leaves Davis exposed to taking hits from his opponents. This tendency to absorb punches while waiting for the perfect counterattack can lead to a higher number of strikes landed against him. Despite the risks, Davis's method is rooted in his confidence and skill in timing his counterattacks. However, the consensus among analysts is that while this tactic showcases his patience and precision, it also highlights a vulnerability that opponents could exploit. Remember his fight with Ryan Garcia? In their bout, which took place in April of last year, Garcia had Tank Davis reeling and nearly out on his feet early in the second round. It was a critical moment where Davis was fortunate to survive that shaky period.
Tank is telling Thomas Taylor he's enemy behind the head. Quick uppercut.
Garcia's performance was significantly impacted by the weight stipulations he had agreed to, which left him physically drained and weakened. These restrictions, which Garcia had foolishly accepted, greatly diminished his strength and stamina. As a result, he was unable to fully capitalize on the advantage he had created. If Garcia had been at his full strength, it's highly likely that he would have been able to finish Davis off with a knockout, given the vulnerable state Davis was in during that moment. In the past, some of his opponents would never go to the 4th or 5th round, and now his opponents are staying after the 7th or 8th rounds. Pitbull Cruz continued about Davis. I think they know how to fight him. They know the exact strategic plan for how to fight Gervonta Davis. Knowing this, Pitbull Cruz is eager for a rematch with Gervonta Davis. Cruz's confidence in his ability to finally defeat Davis is extraordinarily high. He believes that with the knowledge of Davis's vulnerabilities and his own improved preparation, he is well positioned to achieve a decisive victory. I have no issues in fighting him again. First, I have to take care of business on August 3rd, and after that, I will let my promoters and managers negotiate with his team. I have absolutely no issues, and I actually welcome the opportunity to fight him again, said Pitbull Cruz about being interested in fighting Davis again. Experts are generally supportive of Cruz's decision to pursue a rematch with Davis. Their previous fight was both impressive and lucrative, generating substantial wealth for promoters and providing fans with an exhilarating experience. However, these same experts have offered Cruz some valuable advice. He needs to make a strong impression with his performance against Rayo Valenzuela. If Cruz wants to secure a rematch with Tank Davis, he can improve his chances by dominating Rayo and stealing the spotlight from the main event featuring Terence Crawford and Israel Madrimov. If he can showcase his skills and capture the audience's attention, Cruz could position himself favorably for the much-anticipated rematch. I'm actually happy that all the fans are going to be there that night, and I'm getting ready to give them a good spectacle so they can all enjoy it, said Cruz. So, do you think Pitbull Cruz has what it takes to pull off an upset against Davis in their rematch with the undisputed champ? Or will fans be left disappointed if Cruz falls short again, as he did in their previous encounter? Share your thoughts in the comments below.